Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Michael. Today I'm going to walk you through another one of my tracks. This one is a swagger track with guitars and bass. It's basically a rock song. So let me play the song and then I'll break it all down for you. Okay, so that's the track. This was kind of new for me. It was kind of a pain in the butt, to be honest. I played guitar since I was a kid. Not an amazing guitarist. I like playing guitar. But it kind of got me back into playing guitar, which was nice. But I was really inexperienced when it came to like EQing and just mixing a bunch of guitars. I didn't know like how to pan them, how to mix them. So I had to learn quite a bit, and I'm not super confident that this is like the best mix it could be, but it's the best I could do at this time. But I'm confident, like I think I wrote a cool song, so that's progress for me. So let me kind of break down what happened. Basically, we had guitars, a bass, percussion. Here's bass. Percussion is like basically I made a kick and a snare out of a bunch of different instruments, percussion instruments, and then just kind of our FX stuff, so like whoosh hits and some little ear candy things here and there. Like I think these are Ferrum. So let's start from the beginning. Basically, the song starts with I chopped up the guitar to make kind of an interesting start to the song with the riser. And if you're paying attention, you'll hear that the guitar kind of goes from one ear, pans left and right. Hopefully that sounds okay on your end. I wasn't quite sure. It's supposed to be a swagger track, right? So like a lot of these songs kind of make me think. It's kind of like the last song I was talking about. It makes you think of beer commercials a lot of the time. Just kind of like we're getting a beer, we're having a great time, kind of thing. So I think I got that vibe. But let's just start breaking it down here. So we've got the intro. Then the key here was just to have a little bit of a break just so that it's like it stops. So now let's go to the guitars. Here are the guitars on their own. I'm gonna stop this. There we go. Okay, so that basically repeats for quite a bit of the song. At one point, it changes to something else because I felt it was like very repetitive. I basically just stayed in this room and was just playing guitar over and over again until I got like a couple different cool guitar lines. I'm like, okay, I think I could put these all together. And what you can see is if you hit this little button here, it shows like my different takes. So a lot of these things are they're comped together. So it's like multiple takes, and I take bits and pieces of the ones that I liked and made one version of it. So that's something you can do on your own. Like you can play the song like 8 times, and maybe like the start of your track, of like what you played, and then you're like, the last note I messed up. So then you go and steal the last note from another one of your tracks or another one of your takes. So that's basically what I did. And I doubled it, so I have 2 guitars. And you can see that one's panned to the left, one's panned to the right. And that's kind of like how I did most of the guitars. Like I did a couple rhythms, 2 to the left, 2 to the right, and then I had like lower versions of the chords playing 2 to the left, 2 to the right. But yeah, so that's the main melody, and there's not a lot going on here. You can hear we've got a bass coming in about halfway through once the guitars start to repeat. So let's see the bass. The bass was actually not a real bass. It's Scarby J bass. So this is, right? It sounds whatever, but I thought I would add some low end and just kind of, you know, if it's a rock song, you probably have to have bass in it. So let's listen to that. It sounds like MIDI, which is fair. But the big thing is that it's, you know, it's not the main part of the song, so worked for me. And like along with a lot of these guitars I had, the big thing for me was that I wanted to use some. I was just kind of messing around, so I used some. Usually I use contact amps, but I used a lot of the Slate stuff. So I had like a subscription to the Slate, whatever, like the yearly subscription. So they had a bunch of amps and pedals and stuff. So I just kind of messed around with them and used different ones until I found things that I liked. So you know, if you're writing a song like this, what you're going for really depends on the tone of your amp. So because you could take the same thing and change the amp and it sounds completely different. So we've got the bass going, we've got the guitar going, and then I mentioned here, so we've got a kick. This was the biggest pain, actually, to be honest. I couldn't figure out how to get a cool kick that sounded like it was in rock, but also for trailer music. So this is what I ended up getting. I was kind of going for that big stadium kick, and you kind of hear like it's got some reverb to it. So we got Cerberus, excuse me. We got Damage. I had this Stomp library, Smack. I've got some toms that I just like a low tom, and all together. So like, you know, I started kind of like with this. Sorry, let me start that again. I had just one. I was like, oh, that's okay. Add a couple more, it gets thicker. Right? So eventually I got this kind of cool kit, and I had a compressor on it to just bring it all together. So then I felt, okay, I need a snare sound. Let's listen to the snare sound as well. I think I had less issues with this, but so again, it's like a huge mix of items here. So we've got Damage. That's pretty low. Then what do we got here? I didn't even label this one. Let's see what it is. On some drums from Cerberus. And then a snare. And then these are kind of like claps. And I didn't end up using these guys down here. So all together, we get... Right, and together with the kick. One of the issues I kind of was having that it seemed like sometimes the kick, they wouldn't all, the start time for each of the MIDI notes wasn't the exact same, so it kind of got like a double kick, like, but I was like, whatever, it sounds cool altogether. So let's keep going. Okay, so what's that? That's the kind of stuff, those little things that make it sound a little more trailery. So I've got just Ferrum here making some like metal sounds. So you can hear there's actually two sounds. One is like the high ting ting, very metally, and then this one's more of like a kind of typical trailer hit sound. Very like very wet sounding. So let's keep going. Here, a riser. Okay, so let's just, before we get into that, you can hear throughout the song, I've got these whoosh hits and like a whoosh bang that really emphasize the percussion. So let's just pay attention to those. Right here. Have this little downer. Right? Just kind of emphasizes it, makes it more trailery. So then we got some typical risers. I think this one I cut. Yep. So I cut that one just to kind of get us into the second section here. And I really was like, in terms of format, I'm like, I'm not quite certain how to put these different groups together. Like the first act, second act, third act. So I kind of just did like a little solo, like just kind of like a, yeah, I guess it's like a solo, but let's listen. Cool. So, you know, just a little bit of a rock theme going on there. But what I was trying to do is have edit points. So like you could start right here and it's editable. So, and we've got the claps here just to kind of break up the section. So you can see I got 3 sets of claps here. And also you might notice that I pulled the snare out. I think they might hit with the... Nope, it doesn't hit with the claps. So it's just the snare completely stops once this kind of, like, that solo section started. The bass comes in here. Okay, so basically we had a little breakdown section here. That little solo kind of brought us in. We have the kick going, the claps. Then once it starts to repeat, so that it's not repeating over and over again with no change, the bass comes in. Then we've got the snares. The snare comes back in, and it kind of does like a build, right? It comes back in for the last bit here. So let's just listen to this part again. So here comes the bass. Snare. Riser. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the guitar has completely changed. That's silly of me to forget that. So at the start we had... Now it's changed to... So, and you can see I was cutting it out at the end to line up with those claps. So the guitars also changed just to have something new. And then when we go into that kind of third act, like after everything comes back, the bass, the snare, we're still using that new guitar part. But if you listen to the the second guitar that's making these little lines, it's the original melody. So let's see, where was that? Right here. So there it is, right there. That was the original sound. So do 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 do. Do 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 kind of thing. Just to kind of, it's like a little callback, brings it back. Right? And what else do we got? So the big thing in this section was that when I gave it to people for feedback, some friends, they were basically like, your third act, there's like the chords are very thin. So I originally had 1 set of chords, which are right here, just playing power chords. And I had them like really low, and they were very muddy, and everything. Even parts of the song I still feel can be like improved upon in terms of muddiness. But I brought these in, and I felt better now that I had like kind of these heavier chords. And at the end, you'll see here I add another set of power chords playing. So let's just keep going here. Cool. So what do we have going on here? So we got the chords coming in. The bass is still there. The stomp and the kick and the snare are still going. Now the snare is more like everything's more aggressive, right? Things change over time. We're improving. So that's the build up. Little couple fills here and there, right? Cool. So the percussion's like doing more, but I also added in this it's not a snare. I don't know why it's labeled snare. It's a crash, I think. So you can hear it. Let's just listen to the crash. It's just simple. I don't know what the difference is. So that's what's going on with the percussion. And you notice I'll stop here because we have this little guitar break here. Let's listen to it. Those are like I was gonna say pinch harmonics. They're not pinch harmonics. They're just harmonics. Yeah, harmonics. So it's like all the guitars at the same time just go wah. And I kind of doubled it up here by having one do it on its own, and then turning it all up. So it's kind of like a nice little break for the song, and we get right back into it. Okay, so the last break before we go to the end of the song just slows us down, lets us breathe, and then we're coming back full tilt. So what's happening in there? The guitars are doing, and the bass are kind of doing like dome, dome, dome. So very basic, but we also bring those claps back again like we did in the earlier in the track. And you'll notice that the bass does a little line right around here, along with the guitar doing a slide down, which just gives us kind of a transition into the end of the song. So let's listen one more time. Okay, so originally we had, what's changed here? We had these chords going like this. Pretty basic, right? Now in the last act here, they've got more of a chug feel to them. Obviously they're faster, but we also have these kind of higher chords as well playing. I just played them higher up on the on my guitar. Right? So we got this kind of like chug at the end. Of course, the fun part of the song for me is like this little solo thing. So this, like, I'm not very good at soloing, but I found myself improving just by trying to write one on my own. Let's listen to it. And I think when you listen to it like soloed like that, you can tell that it's comped together. I don't know. I'm not good enough to play the whole thing all together. Maybe I will be one day. But with the mix, I think it sounds pretty cool. So let's just, and of course, we've got one last riser on the way up, and the percussion's just kind of going nuts as well. So let's listen here. So there's the little solo. Now let's listen to the percussion as we get to the end of the song. And that's like that last line. So let's just listen to this last part here and then we'll call it a day. And the last thing on the guitar is I played that last note and I kind of like bent the strings a little bit, so you got a little bit of wah. That's the whole song basically. Obviously we had the whoosh hits going through. and those little downers playing up throughout the song. But it's basically guitar, bass, the kick, the snare, and eventually kind of like a rise at the end, and then it ends. So hopefully you learned something from the track. It kind of has like rekindled my enjoyment of playing guitar, electric guitar specifically. So I'm hoping to do another one at some point, and maybe I'll have another one I can show you guys, and hopefully it's better mixed, but still has a good vibe to it. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye now.